take up Ms. Smith's motion for continuance, and then we'll come back to you for your matter. It should be just a few minutes. All right, can you bring Ms. Smith into the room, please? Ms. Smith, are you with us?
Yes.
The board is ready to hear your motion for continuance.
I was asking for a continuance because right now I am just really not in a mental headspace to move forward today, but I understand the decision. If you guys decide to move forward, I've lost my husband, brother-in-law, and just dropped my daughter off at college, and I'm just I just asked for a continuance for a later date so that I can get myself together and come up with a good defense.
I have a question.
Gregory?
How long ago did you lose your husband?
I lost my husband a year. Was it been a year?
And how long ago did you lose your other person?
February.
Of this year?
Last year.
Okay.
Both of them was last year.
Okay, thank you.
Have you made any attempts to retain counsel, Ms. Smith?
I had retained counsel for the first go round on the same issue with the when I received a public reprimand and a 1-year probation. I had retained counsel on that issue. I mean, on that matter, and I still owe her, so I can't afford counsel.
Are you currently practicing law?
Yes. Very minimal, very, very, very little.
We saw in the sentence or your probation document that you had to request permission from a probation officer to practice law. Have you received that permission?
I was allowed to keep the cases that I have, and the CPS cases were the only ones that I could, but I haven't. I actually talked to the judge yesterday. So the cases that I have wound down to approximately 10.
Are they all CPS cases?
Yes, they are. I believe I have one custody case, but it feels like it's going on forever. But that's my own personal. I mean, it's not my personal case. It's my client. It's a private client. It's not court appointed case from CPS, which is the only thing that I do now. But I just have one outside of that CPS court appointment.
Are you getting paid for that one?
I'm sorry?
Are you getting paid for the private one?
I got paid the half of the retainer, but that's it. I haven't gotten paid anything else.
Does anyone else have any questions for Ms. Smith on the continuance? Mr. Berry, what is the CDC's position on Ms. Smith's continuance?
You're on mute.
I apologize. We would oppose a continuance at this time. The board has discretion as to whether to disbar or simply suspend Ms. Jefferson Smith, and she's already been practicing for a year of her 2-year probated sentence. And though we're requesting disbarment, if the board chose to suspend her instead, she's still being allowed to practice so far a year of that 2 years. While I have compassion for her loss, I've been through that myself, and I think her husband died 2 years ago. I don't think that's
It's been 2 years.
at this time. But if she can handle other cases, our feeling is she should be able to handle this one. So there are really no defenses here. She did make a claim that it was the same matter. It's not. The co-defendant in the allegations are not the same. The co-defendant in the criminal case was the complainant in the other case, but it was based on the findings there were that she had taken a loan, and there was some discrepancy about that, but the finding was that she'd taken a loan without giving them the proper notice to consult with counsel. That argument, I think, is misplaced based on the findings of in the criminal matter, and which is a different allegation in the finding in the judgment of suspension. So we would ask that the continuance not be allowed at this time.
Ms. Smith, would you like to make a brief response? And we're really not getting into the merits at this point. This is just about the need for continuance.
Yes. My response would probably be more, it wouldn't probably be about the continuance, because I've said all I needed to say about that. Sorry. But I would like to say that when I was publicly reprimanded by the State Bar, they were aware of the charges that came out in federal court later on. They were aware of those, and that's why I agreed to a public reprimand they wouldn't give me a private reprimand because of the health insurance issue that I turned in myself to the State Bar. But it is arising from the same cause of action. It was used against me to do a public reprimand, and now that same cause of action, that same complainant, that same defendant, that's what's being used against me to disbar me.
Yeah, we'll get into the merits if we decide to go forward this morning.
Okay. So, but as far as the continuance, I would just appreciate it to have one.
Okay, the board will take that under consideration. Ms. Truitt, if you could remove all the parties and counsel from the room, and Ms. Siebert.